What is that?
It's cutting edge VR, Flynn.
It looks like it's something from the future, you know?
Flynn took a trip to future London, saw something she wasn't supposed to. Now people from there are trying to kill us.
Transcend humanity with Omen.
Boys, gals, non-binary pals, welcome to the Amazon University Esports Valorant Women and Non-Binary Tournament. It is spring 2023, and yes, it is indeed picnic season upon us. I'm very excited about that. But for now, we have something else for you to sink your teeth into. Once again, we are seeing Plymouth Quackers tonight versus, however, OnlyFans. This is the battle to try and secure that final spot against Grocery Store. Very exciting stuff indeed incoming. And speaking of exciting stuff, I am not alone. I am joined once again by the incredible Zach, and I am so hyped about that. Hello, Zach.
Hi, Grace. It's always lovely to be on.
Excellent stuff. I mean, so already, we did see a significantly smooth victory last week. It was a 2-0. However, Plymouth were getting them on the ropes a little bit. Plymouth, of course, going through that upper bracket, having a really nice one up until they came to that matchup last week. And that's where it got a bit unfortunate for me. I was saying a lot last week, I really wanted to see Plymouth do well. They are still in it to win it, though. It's just the fact that they are going to be against OnlyFans. For those of you at home who are very unfamiliar with the bracket at the moment, OnlyFans are the new roster of Boosted E-Girls from last season. A very dominant team indeed. So this is where stuff gets very exciting for me personally, because tonight we have the potential double revenge tour could come through, not only from the side of Plymouth, who could go and try and beat, Grocery Store again, but it's the fact that OnlyFans, if they win tonight, then they get to go up against Grocery Store, who, of course, Lavrita was once in that roster with these ladies. So that is pretty spicy, if you ask me. Again, though, Zach, this is where the things get a little bit more dangerous, right? It's this final make it or break it moment. They really have to secure these wins today. Again, we will get to the math veto shortly, and I'm sure you'll have a lot to say about that. But in the meantime, it's been a pretty dominant run for Plymouth until that matchup last week against Grocery Store.
Yeah, I think that it was pretty dominant for both of these teams. Like it was very, very clean 2-0s. In fact, a lot of these games were what you'd term as an absolute stomp. But Grocery Store, despite it being a 2-0, some of those games were pretty close, especially the one on Lotus. I remember it being neck and neck for most of that first part. Those in the second half, it did seem like Grocery Store were able to kind of run away with the momentum. They looked to be the stronger team, especially their Killjoy player. I still remember some of the very interesting plays that they had running. So yeah, it is going to be them locking in their spot after last week's game in that grand finals. But like you mentioned, a lot of spicy storylines between all three of these teams, with the players being like swapped around, switching teams, rename rosters, all that shiz, which I'm sure you know way better than me, seeing that you've been around for a while. But either way, I'm really excited for today's lower finals because I really want to see Plymouth Quackers get another chance against Grocery Store, especially it's always nice to see a rematch coming, especially in a final. It's just so spicy to watch.
Speaking of spicy, actually, ladies and gentlemen, we are looking at the bracket right here. As you can see, Ashanti of all people, a very dominant team last season. I believe they actually won in the end, right? But they got 2-0 in the end by OnlyFans. OnlyFans in themselves, again, for those of you at home who do not know, a lot of the people in this roster, they were actually in those Game Changers qualifiers under Mouse Plays, and they did have a really good run of it. I believe Runner as well was also with them in that Game Changers roster. So there is a bit of a kind of, I guess, a rivalry, so to speak, a friendly rivalry that will come through tonight, hopefully. Again, we are expecting maybe a little bit more from these ladies, a lot of competitive experience there. So certainly we are hoping that we will have a barn burner incoming. I think the most important thing here, right, is going to be the map veto, in my opinion. It's going to be where this showdown is happening. Remember, this is going to be a best of 3. So Zach, what do you make of these maps?
I mean, I'm always excited to see Fracture and Pearl come in particular because Fracture, it seems like teams are finally getting comfortable playing it, but it's still kind of like a permaban for a lot of these teams. Pearl as well. It's pretty much like Pearl and Lotus are the two most banned maps that I've seen. So it's always a pleasure to get to see them. With Harbor coming into the team comps, it's much more in meta. You see a lot of flexibility when it comes to it, a lot of double controllers coming up, or just the way that people play the map. It's gotten a little bit more dynamic ever since the Asian composition has gotten a bit more varied. And of course, the Decider, well, it's going to be a map that all of us know. I wouldn't say all of us love, but all of us know really well at this point, seeing that it's been around since the beginning, Haven. So, in particular, if I have to pick, I would say that I'm most excited for Pearl. I want to see exactly what kind of Asian compositions both these teams are going to be bringing to the table. And could say the same for Fracture as well, because it's always interesting to see what kind of duelist the team comes up with, because this is a map where you see like a lot of variation. The Raze is always a favorite. You see that Neon come out quite a bit as well, and you even see the Jet sometimes. So it's always interesting.
Yeah, I think again the Neon being a very comfortable and safe pick, given that 9 times out of 10 we can consider this attacker-sided map. It's very aggressive in order to go for those fast rotations from the get-go, especially from that defensive side. And Neon in the pocket does really help. Of course, you kind of speed over to the other side if you need to, or even go for some more aggressive early round plays. Pearl, I'm super excited about. I think I actually touched on this last week, how I really wanted to see a Pearl come through behind the scenes. We're finally getting it here, so I'm happy about that. Again, another map where we hope to maybe see a bit of aggression coming through from both these sides. Maybe I will be treated to my fave of the Fade and KO combo. We will see. Again, we spoke about how Fade is so impactful when it comes to this map. Lots of twists and turns, lots of hunting to do.
Oh yeah, I feel like when it comes to Pearl, the main map dynamic is mid control, right? And if you're not running that double initiator comp, it can be super difficult to get into play. I do see some teams kind of going for that Silva, especially when they're running in that Jet. You know, you can dash into your own smoke, get shots through that, get a couple of kills. But I agree with you, it is that Fade KO combo that finds the most value. KO because of how you can shut down that Viper or Harbor, or and I know that it's all out of the tournament yet, but that Gecko in particular can like really deny that plan from coming through with that super cute wingman. But yeah, I personally do love Fade on this map, especially since there are a lot of these really nifty lineups for almost every single site or mid. In fact, on that art area, there's like a little bit of a hole in the wall where you can toss your hunt through, and if it just lights up people, and you can, well, if you have an Odin, you can wall bang them and stuff. But that's just a little bit of a secret. So it's always a pleasure to see Fade. She's honestly one of my favorite initiator agents, just because of how aggressive you can really play her and use your utility for yourself. You can't really do that with Soa, but you can do that with Fade.
100%. It's almost like, to be a bit maybe controversial, you can almost, especially when she first came out, there was a lot of talk about kind of almost using her as an entry point as well, because of how that utility enables you to just hunt people down. Essentially, it just allows you to play so aggressive. Granted, yes, Reyna, we can play aggressive with Reyna. Valir is a useful piece of utility, but people are so used to kind of countering it and dealing with that kind of utility. Unlike the Fade utility, in which case you're just like, okay, I've just got to win my ones here. I've just got to land these shots and hope that this swing doesn't go in their favor.
Yeah, that's definitely true. The nice thing about Fade is that she's not only good as a solo player, a solo agent or entry, like you mentioned, but she's also really good for setting up your entire team. I think that her kit is the most versatile when it comes to initiators. You get that information off the back of the haunts, and then you can use your prowlers. And her ultimate, I think, is one of the most impactful ults because it has like the range of a breach ult, but it cuts noise, it decays people, it makes them so much more juicy for the plucking. And it's basically like a Cypher ult, but a lower range, right? It tells you exactly where people are if they're caught in it with all those trails. So it's really good for buying times, especially in that post-plant kind of scenario. And of course, her last piece of her kit, the Seas as well. Like if you're running for example, on a map like Fracture, if you're running a race, I've seen it too many times. If you're going to be tossing the paint shells and the Seas at the right time, it's just free kills.
The things we love to see. Free kills indeed. However, I don't know if we'll see too many free kills tonight. Again, it is Plymouth Quackers. I really touched on this last week quite significantly, and I am going to touch on it again. I won't lie to you all. Plymouth Quackers, last season, I really wanted them to come back with a little bit more bite. Granted, they certainly have done that. Up until the point the grocery store, of course, the first grand finalists at this point, they were on such a prominent and strong victory run. Can they stay in it? And again, the fact that they have to go up against OnlyFans of all people, it is going to be a long slog. We could essentially maybe call this a bit of a David versus Goliath situation. I do think that is too far-fetched. Again, whoever wins here, there's still the potential of a revenge tour. So that's really where you all need to be focusing. What kind of revenge tour are we looking for today? Are we looking for an OnlyFans revenge tour, or are we looking for a Plymouth revenge tour? Agent, select those, Zach.
Like we talked about, we're already going to be seeing that fade on the side of OnlyFans, though the only agent to quite lock in at this juncture is that Killjoy. Never mind, as I say, the raise comes in. But yeah, like we talked about, Fracture is also one of those maps where ideally you want to have the double initiator. Breach is, of course, the most popular choice because of how he manages to control those lanes. The ultimate is super useful for retake, and until the last couple of patches, his Aftershock was a perfect counter to the Killjoy. But as a Killjoy main, I'm very glad that's no longer the case. As for Plymouth, Caucus, they seem to be messing around a little bit with us. I saw 3 duelists there for a second, but yeah, it does seem like they're reconsidering that. It seems to be almost a mirrored comp here, with the exception of the controller. So I'm not going to comment on the duelists yet because Plymouth Caucus haven't quite locked in. But I think that with Chamber being nerfed and with Killjoy getting that kind of like favor over Chamber, especially considering on this map her lockdown is so pivotal for being able to take that site on attack on that B site. I think that is pretty good.
Sorry, I think you cut out there then, Zach.
No, did I cut out? I'm so sorry. I was just saying, like, yeah, it does seem to be a bit of a mirror comp, though. Plymouth because they are going for that double duelist comp. It seems like a Jet and a Reyna. I haven't seen a Reyna in a while, but I'm very excited for it.
I think this is it, right? Whenever you're bringing that range to the table, we did touch on this just a second ago. It's a very aggressive toolkit to use, right? That Leah, the way that you have to play around the Reyna utility, it's kind of like you have to swing pretty much immediately. As soon as that util comes out, swing will be swung, to be honest.
The question is, will the Reyna be able to hit a headshot? Because I think that the biggest plus and minus of the Reyna, it's the same point, right? Her entire kit is extremely provisional. It only works if you're getting kills. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to get either the overkills or the dismisses. So I think that there's going to be a lot of pressure on the shoulders of Jay here to be able to get those entries, to be able to kind of just get those kills and make sure that they are finding value on that Reyna. I think that's the main reason why Reyna has such a low pick rate in competitive Valorant, because of the fact that when you're playing in a team versus team setting, no matter how much utility is there to set you up, it's so much more difficult to be able to get frags, because at that juncture, right, even if your duelist get an entry, the odds are you're almost instantly going to be traded out, and it kind of falls on your teammates to be able to keep up with it. But Grace, what do you think about these agent comps?
I mean, my main worry is that, again, if you are on that attacking side, you need to be a little bit quick to withdraw. At the same time, granted, we do have some smokes out on the Astra if they want to play it a bit more defensively, and maybe those paint shells will allow a lot of breathing room when they go for these initial clears and approaches to these setups. Already, they're kind of getting stuck in here. Raven leading the way. Nothing too fruity just yet, just looking for the heads of any defenders and maybe lurking, maybe getting a bit too cheeky with it.
It is a very slow approach for these attackers, but I can understand why they want to make sure that every single corner is checked. Often you see that A main area kind of like taken early control of by the defenders, so they want to be very methodical about it. That turret being broken, though, is going to give away information that there is going to be some presence towards this A side. In fact, the Executor is already on its way here with the up of the alarm bot. It is going to be a little bit of damage onto side, but Jay will still find that first frag with a beautiful headshot. The trade is going to be immediately there, though, as Raven strikes back, and now it's still going to be a 4v4 side control has been taken by the attackers here as they find another kill, and now the retake has to come in with a bit of a disadvantage. A lot of a disadvantage.
That's a disadvantage, especially when they're landing shots like that. Smoke's going out just to give them a bit of cover as they try and reposition themselves. Want to go for these tight little pixel angles. A little with their Luna pulls, and there we have it. A swift little cleanup to get things started. This round,
when Reyna gets started,
that's
it's
a good
hard
start.
to stop her.
Again, the fact
that
you can, especially on attack, have that comfortableness where essentially all of you can go to one side. We think about the rotations that the defense have to do as well. It's always going to be a clunky retake every time. And this is why it is a bit more favorable to start on that attacking side. But If you're defense, this is where a lot of this utility needs to be placed out. And maybe right now, to be honest, apart from maybe a lot of that Killjoy utility, there's not too much to delay these approaches. Maybe more aggression needs to come through from the defense.
Oh yeah, on a map like Fracture for sure, you really should try to push at least one or two of those lanes, get that information, clear it out, and make sure that it's not like a point of contention. Talking about contention though, it is going to be Sleepy getting some early information that this A main area has very stacked, sees at least a couple of players and immediately just decides to book it out, falling back to relative safety here, I would say. Though it seems like these remaining players, they're on a bit of a pursuit there. Sleepy against the world, does manage to find two before being shut down, but that's going to be a Spectre in the hands of Jay, who also has that overheal, so this might be the difference maker.
Certainly so. It's just whether or not you are willing to get aggressive here. Raven sending up that bot just to make sure that they can delay this retake as much as possible. These crossfires start to get set up too. Lots of utility being used here just to delay that push even more. You see where their heads there. They are to go for the swing. Raven actually shuts them down though. Run up the 2K to follow things up. Zara goes for a little pick onto Capybara as well. Not looking great right now. Run has to pull back a little bit. Again, ideally, what do you do in this situation? Maybe it's the case of maybe going for a bit of a KD save, but no, Zoo there is going to shut that down. Another round going in the favor of OnlyFans.
All things considered, though, that was a pretty good round for the Quokkas because they managed to take down 3 of those Spectres, doing quite a bit of economic damage, and this bonus round looks very, very unlikely to materialize because of the fact that they no longer have those Spectres in their hands. It's still a possibility, but it's very, very improbable, at least by my experience when it comes to this game. It is going to be the fullback kicking in right now, though, for the Quokkas, and they should be able to capitalize off the back of that. They do have that significant weapon advantage. Run is only 3 away from that lockdown if necessary, though I'm hoping that it's not going to be used in this round because that is kind of like the major ultimate that you'd like to have on your side when you're going for any kind of a retake on this defense.
Yeah, absolutely, for real. Again, just giving yourself so much breathing room to go for that retake, essentially pushing everyone away so you can go for that defuse. Looks like again much of the same, this dual dimension of a collapse into this A site. Pretty standard. Again, I don't really think anyone brings anything too spectacular when it comes to this map. It's very bread and butter. It's just, again, for the defense, you've got so much more movement that you have to consider. Looks like a little bit of a bait for now, though. Swift rotate towards
Weapon
B.
here.
Are they actually going to fall through? Potentially they will.
Where are you?
A few pop shots just to keep them there.
Mark one.
Nice and
Bring
snug.
it down.
Where the fire really starts to go down. Luna, beautiful shot there onto Raven, but the rest of them are collapsing thick and fast onto that B-side. Ghost with the cleanup though. Sleepy Java falling. Lovely stuff before Zara trades it back out. And again, that spike has to go down, but by now, you know that Plymouth know where this plan is going. They just have to once again go for that retake
Spike
attack.
planted. There.
2v3 situation right now. They know exactly where the Killjoy is. Ruber going to be spotted out while putting that turret down. They are trying to hold a crossfire on site, but there's only going to be a Spectre and Sheriff in the hands of these players. Run will find a headshot onto Zara, and it's all down to Ruber right now. How much damage can they really find? Runs out of bullets, and Run will be able to get that final kill on the cleanup there, as it's going to be Plymouth Quokkas finding their first. They also managed to hold on to 2 rifles heading into the next round, so while it's not the best situation financially, it's not too bad. Run will also have that lockdown, which is something that could really come into play over the course of that next round. But talking about the way that OnlyFans played that round, it was just beautiful stuff because they knew that they had the weapon advantage. They had to go for the picks, had to wreak a little bit of pandemonium and confusion around the map, and they were able to do all of that in very short order, and they even got the plant down. It's going to be quite a bit of more money in the pockets off the back of that. They have that lockdown available in Seaware. In fact, multiple ultimates are going to be online right now across the board here for both of these teams. Gonna be the defender. Killjoy putting it down. A little bit of space. Right. Looking at the weak players are positioned. At least 2 or 3 of them. In fact, they're gonna be on side. So that first fuse right now. The fuse finally starts. Boone already managing to get it to half the way there before being hit by that rolling thunder.
One enemy remaining.
To compartmentalize off it, get onto site, but that rolling thunder, it might have been the difference in this particular round. It's all down to just Lunar. A 1v2, but Zara's more than ready for it. That's a fate diff coming out. 3 all the round for Zara, and 3 rounds for the side of OnlyFans.
Zara do be landing those shots though. Goodness gracious. Goodness gracious me. And still, that Blade Storm, you know, it's still on the table though. Ghost still has that lurking around somewhere. It's just, will they get the opportunity to use it? Only time will tell. I think it'd be quite a curious one to see if we do see that double Duelist ulti pop happen. If they choose to play a very high progressive duo right now, that could be massive. Again, the best thing sometimes to do with that defense is to go for those overextensions at times. You know, the attacks, they have their step A, step B, step C they want to go through. If you suddenly throw a spanner in the works by popping up out of nowhere with a hyper-aggressive duo, that can often put such a dampener in the works of the attack, especially when you know that you are on that slight disadvantage. And you need to go for those bigger plays just to make the round shift on its head, so to speak.
Oh yeah, for sure. I feel like at this point, it's very, like, the momentum is firmly in favor of OD fans here. Plymouth Quokkas, they have quite a bit of work to do to try and offset it. They do have the buy at least in their favor. Ooh, that's a nasty angle being held by Lunar, but unfortunately, they're going to be forced out of it with some beautiful paint shows, and Raven will have that kill as well. Showstopper online. They're going to be looking for more. Not quite able to do too much damage, though at least they will get sight. It's all down to Ghost. We've seen them kind of be that anchor before, already being able to find the first, not able to deny the plant, but still finding so much damage here before finally being shut down.
Silly, so again, that Cosmic Divide really doesn't help things. Absolutely no line of sight to work with right now. And look at this. Run is ready and waiting. Probably unaware of the fact it's a sneaky little raise around the corner. Zara's going to shot down to run though.
One enemy
that doesn't
remaining.
even need to happen. Java cleaning up Jake. Also, poor Capybara. I mean, there we have it. Java finally collecting their third kill of the round. And goodness me, again, just the really, really swift timing with this utility use, giving them all the breathing room they need.
I think that at this point, Oni fans, they're firing across all the cylinders here. Raven is able to consistently get them entries. Great utility usage coming out of their initiators, both Zara and Java being able to pop off. And I think overall it's just a really good team-wise effort. The thing that I like to highlight the most for this team is like their post plan, because they are just so disciplined when it comes down to it. You see Raven getting a little bit aggressive sometimes, but they don't push too far. And I think that they're able to really hold down those power positions to prevent the retake from materializing at all. Now though, 4-1, once again, it's going to be an economic deficit coming in for the side of Plymouth Quokkas. Not much to work with, just pistols. I think I saw a Marshall as well. A bit of a rough situation for them.
Despite them not really going that way, I like the way we were seeing Zara trying to get a bit bolshy with it then. I think that's something, again, they need to do a little bit more here. Speaking of bolshy, Raven with a swing around the corner. Ghost is going to fall down. Can Run go for the refrag here? So they're ready and waiting. Potentially going to land this shot. There we go. They are unaware. But Zubair with the trade. Trades across the board. The stuff you love to see. And here we have it. The ult coming through from Raven. Doesn't quite land on anyone just yet. But he's going to give a little bit of a warning shot towards the side of Plymouth. They know exactly who is ready and waiting for them on the other end of the corridor. Oh, Capybara falls down. Beautiful shot there. Can they go for this final 2 picks down the corridor? Jay desperately trying to look for one of these heads. Using the Marshall. Luna is going to clean up Ravens. That's easy, you know, Ray's dealt with. Can they get the second, though? It's getting a little bit scrappy. That timer is ticking. Look at these warning shots being fired, Zach. A really uncomfortable situation for Jay to be in right now.
I think at this point, the most Plymouth Quokkas can do is avoid giving more ultimate orbs with kills to their opponents and just try to die to the spike, which is what they end up doing. But I know that was an eco run coming out of them. But once again, just the way this team is playing, right? They don't even see the need to play for map control anymore because they know they have all the utility they need to take that site. And I feel like because of the fact that they managed to get at least 1 pick before getting that spike down, the retake is always at a disadvantage for the side of Plymouth Quokkas. They do have some ultimates to work with in this particular one. They have the Empress on Jay, which might let them be able to really pop off. Also, that Nightfall from Lunar might be able to slow things down, get a little bit of information. But, you know, the opposite side as well, they have their own. And at this point, I'm just very impressed by the ultimate management coming out of both of these teams. They don't commit all of them when they don't have to. It's always committed as on a need-to-use basis, especially the breach ults. I like how they're farming the orbs from both of these sides. So it's just really good gameplay coming out. I just feel like the side of Oni fans, because of the fact they're on attack and they're able to find much more damage with it, they're doing more consistently.
And again, even if Oni fans run away with it now, there's always the potential of a retake, you know, when the side switch over. already very, I mean, Ghost does get one to Zara, but it looks like OnlyFans are doing a really good job of clearing up this A site. That spike can start going down.
Spike
And
planted.
there we have it, a firm plonk down. A 2 versus 4, very
Last player
uncomfortable
standing.
indeed. Oof, indeed, 2. Raven, third kill of the round, taking Run's head clean off. So I think certainly getting comfortable for Jay. Raven, look how hungry they are. They're looking for the head of this Reina player. Swing to the corner, and there we have it. Woo!
4 kills for Raven and not even a scratch on them. They didn't take any damage over the course of the round. And remember, they used their showstopper last round. They already have it almost charged up. Just a little bit of what you want to see on your attacking duelist coming in for real with the way Raven is playing it. Right now, though, I think if there ever was a time for a timeout from the side of Flymat Quackos, this has to be it, or at least that next round. Once again, a bit of a scrappy buy, trying to save up for it. There's going to be possibly a Spectre on Ghost. They have the Bladestorm as well if they choose to invest it. But aside from that, not much that they have to work with at this point. 6-1. Look at Raven, 12 kills already. Just testament to what your duel is to be doing.
It's a little bit nasty, a little bit naughty. Again, May, what do you make of these marshals being brought to the table?
I mean, I feel like they're really good, but the problem is that the side of OnlyFans, they keep using utility to push in, and when you're flashed and concussed and caught by the Fade utility, it just makes it super difficult already. Zara finds a pick on the other side towards Stish. It's all down to his Fade to try and anchor it down. Sleepy knows exactly where they are, does quite a bit of damage to boot, and now it's going to be that concussion or pull. Yeah, it is going to be the pull to try and flush them out of that corner. We'll be able to just push in off the back of that and gets a headshot. Nasty work coming out of this team right now. I don't know how much more they'll really be able to do here with the kind of guns they have, and they're all locked into the CT side as well.
There we have it, the spike going down.
Bring them
Yet
down.
again, another retake situation. Can they fare better? That's at least a good start. Run taking out Raven. No more aggression from that player. We've seen constant aggression from her. Zubair taking out Run and Palliation. Nice little trade already coming through. Sleepy, there we have it. Taking out Jay. Capybara. They need to do something huge here. But the aggression once again coming through. Zara falls down. Can you get the second onto Zubair? Look at this utility dump happening. What do you do in that situation? I would simply cry.
I think that if I would cry too. Capybara just with more grace than probably we would accepts their fate. Just like, okay, it's an eco round anyway, all good. Gotta just let myself have a sad demise. But right now, this is gonna be the side for Flymat Quackos to really try and mount a comeback. They have 4 ultimates, only 1 away from that 5th. They have guns across the board. They have everything they need to work with here, really. For the side of OnlyFans as well, there are multiple ultimates online, but at least at this juncture, both teams are on an even footing when it comes to the round. Like you mentioned, though, in the beginning of this game, Grace, I feel like the side of Flymat Quackos, they're playing way too passively. They're not able to get that early information. They're just kind of trying to anchor down the site, and right off the bat, you see when this aggression does come in, they get taken out, and just that numbers disadvantage, it seems to be affecting them so badly on this retake.
You've got to take your hats off too to the fact that OnlyFans are just so confident with taking these entry engagements. And 9 times out of 10, they can convert it very, very quickly to that. Execute! Speaking of which, Luna getting executed by Sleepy. There's Java cleans up Run. Where are these trades? Come on, Plymouth, take my energy. Sleepy taking out Ghost as well. A 2 versus 5. Completely scattered about as well. Capybara just lurking towards this midsection. I think they do hear the footsteps there. Are they going to catch Zara off guard though? Fire comes through.
Standing.
Zara's just too quick with it. Nasty and oof indeed, Zach.
Multiple oofs coming in on this particular game. It's all down to Jay. Does have the Empress activated. If they can get a kill or two, it might be what they need, and they find one. But before they could grab the dismiss, Java is immediately there for the trade. And you know, so many things that OnlyFans are doing correct right now. They're getting the plant down. They have immaculate post plant. They're able to get every single frag that they need. And I think that it's just a little bit of a team diff, perhaps. Flymat Quackos, they're having a slow start. We saw that last time as well. On map 1, they looked a little bit shoddy, but map 2, they woke up, and they're going to need that energy in that next one. Because right now, at least on this defensive path, they're just absolutely struggling. The one round that they managed to win, it was off the back of an economic advantage, and even then, they lost 3 players in the process. They're going to have to really try and get a little bit aggressive here, off the back of some utility. Dry single peaks are not the answer that they've been doing so far. Well, I'm really glad that the team called OnlyFans has all invested in the Ori Katana. It is a sign of civilization.
Well,
There.
what's less civilized is again this lockdown coming through again, giving this breathing room. Looks like Luna is going to try and hang on to it for as possible before being taken out by Raven. Zara, another one to Jay as well. The aggression coming through. Lots of utility being placed to delay
Spike
this
planted.
retake as well. This is going to be very clunky. Ghost kind of isolated here. That ulti comes through from there. We have it. The ult comes through from Raven. Ghost is
My
taken
double's
out.
dead.
Run is ready and waiting for Zubair to fall into their arms. Swing around the corner. The attempt. This is where the guns are
player
hungry yet
standing.
again. And they're out for the blood of Run. Poor Capybara. We've seen this before. Absolutely trying to deal with the flood of utility coming towards them. But there we have it yet again. Another round on the table for OnlyFans. And at this point, if you're Plymouth, I mean, you could worry, but again, I really do put halves like this down to the map. I'll be completely honest. Like, maybe that's me being a bit more biased towards the map. It's just so disgustingly attacker-sided.
I
Again,
completely agree.
maybe in future we'll see some changes to the map because of that, just to mix things up a little bit. That is something I do hope will happen at some point. But for now, I know a lot of teams avoid it just because of that kind of 50-50, or will we actually get that attack half here? Or you know, or is this going to be very uncomfortable as we decide to defend the Blade Storm? Speaking of uncomfortable, Raven gets taken out. Sleepy trades that back for another one down to Jay also. And a swift stampede now towards that B side. Zach, it's looking very dominant again.
Yeah, once again, it's going to be the numbers advantage in the favor of these attackers as they make their way onto side, smokes go down. They are just still double checking, making sure that there's going to be nobody lurking in a really weird corner. Luna does have that Nightfall available for that possible retake, but again, the position that Plymouth Quokkas are being forced to play for the retake against a team with so much utility, it makes it drop so rough. I think it's a nasty shot right now. 2 players remaining, both Fatals invested. The ace going to be denied as Lunar finds that first kill. Things look much more doable now for the Plymouth Quokkas. 2v2 situation. This is the first time where not only the spike has been knocked down here, but also the numbers advantage is not really there. And Plymouth Quokkas, they have every single ability to be able to convert this round, especially considering the fact that they have, I believe, that lockdown also to work with if necessary.
One enemy
Again,
remaining.
this is where we need a bit more. Oh, I was going to say a bit more aggression. Perfectly done there by Luna. Absolutely going for it. They stacked up
Last
there, though.
round
That's a
before
bit
the switch.
awkward. And Luna could just cleanly sweep that up.
Yeah, finally a round coming in for the Plymouth Quokkas. It has to be a sigh of relief at this point. If they can push it a little bit further, get 3 on the board, like you mentioned there, especially with their double duelist comp, they might have a much easier time on attack. Right now, though, it is going to be them able to finally be able to kind of buy up. A little bit of an issue for Capybara, not able to afford, but I think Run might be able to drop them a gun, so it's at least going to be rifles across the board. The only major ultimate that I think will really come into play is that lockdown. The prospect divide as well might make a difference, and now, after all these rounds of just taking those stride peaks with confidence, it does seem like the side of OnlyFans, they're playing it a little bit more cautiously. You see a breach flash being invested right off the bat to prevent Ghost from getting a possibility and kill and just stashing back exactly what you'd expect. And it looks like they still want to go in for this execute on this B side despite all the noise they made.
Yeah, which is a bit fruity, to be honest. I respect it, though. I respect the gumption, the goal. Speaking of goal, Ghost is going to take out Sleepy. Zubair falls too. Nice little clean up coming through from Plymouth right now. Hopefully going out with a bang for this first half. Can they get another round on the table? Add that round differential out just a little bit more. Zara's going to certainly put a dampener in the works there. Ghost falls down too, but Jay just too quick with it. If that heal as well, maybe go for something a little bit more aggressive here, especially now you have that slight player advantage.
Killjoy still going to be alive. They managed to break the molly, so they know at this point that, yeah, there's going to be some heavy presence towards the site. Run has the able, not quite able to hit the shot. Eventually, they managed to get it in order. Raven down. It's all down to Java. 1v3 to clutch out. And it has to have their full utility kit, but who is able to find that first. Not Lunar is there for the trade, though, and it does seem like there's going to be a little bit of signs of life being shown by Plymouth Quokkas as they get this half 3-9. From 1-9 to 3-9, I'm going to give it to them, but this pistol, it's imperative that they win it. Because at that point, if you're able to convert the pistol and that anti-eco, you're at 5-9, and that's just a score that's so much easier to come back from than 3-9 in my opinion. But yeah, it starts with the pistol here, and I feel like with this double duelist comp, they do have that advantage on this attacking side.
I think they just have to be punchy with it, right? They have to just go for it. They have to go for these aggressive takes. These entries need to come in thick and fast. Again, really would love to see the kind of duo pinches coming through from Ghost and Jay right now, just to deal with anyone that may be lurking. I really think that OnlyFans might go for a bit of an overextension here towards the attack, actually. I think they're going to bring that gunfight to them. It is the stuff I like to see, especially on this map from the defense. Just trying to get those opening engagements under your belt. And yeah, already we're seeing it. Raven getting absolutely stuck in here. Just lurking. There is a smoked cover for now. Assume they will realize that they can go for a little bit of an old flankaroonie.
Very, very slow start to the round. They really don't want to risk losing players early on. They made a little bit of noise, like you mentioned. But yeah, this flank might be huge here. It's all going to come down to whether they can kind of catch the timings or not. They have managed to clear out main, kind of looking for underpass, making sure that everything is clear as they go through this. Probably an arcade push. But remember, for the defenders, this killjoy utility is all on site. The moment they peek out, that turret is going to give away information that there is going to be heavy presence towards the site right now. Still 2 players holding down the fort here. Zara as well as Zubir, if I'm not wrong, just being able to hold on. Zara does get spotted out, the Zubir. Ooh. Unfortunately caught with their knife in their hand. I know the Oni katana is pretty, but that's the problem with it. We're unable to find 2 huge frags right now as they manage to get onto site. And just like that, for once, it's going to be the numbers advantage and the flavor of the Quokkas here as they get that spike down. Raven finds that first, makes his retake look a little bit more viable as they try to go forward. Still a bunch of utility that they have to try and deal with here. The concussion as well will connect, but there's going to be no swing off the back of it, so it is looking to be a little bit slow. Jay finds one, a 1-for-1 trade.
There you go, it just feels a little bit scrappy on both sides right now. Ghost does take out Sleepy though. And they try and take out Raven, yes they can! The swing around the corner. There we have it, padding out that round differential ever more. Again, granted, they have finally moved onto that attacking half. Retake potential. The comeback is potentially on.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think that round, like, we definitely saw a bit of patience coming out of them, but more than that, they were able to just get not 1 but 2 entries onto the site. Really, really good kills coming in, and off the back of that, they're gonna have enough money to be able to buy up on these factors across the board here. Only Reyna gonna be playing with half armor, but if Jay can get a kill, it's gonna be free armor for them anyway. Never mind, they're gonna be investing just in case. They're up against Classics, if I'm not wrong, so not much competition when it comes to firepower. Though honestly, I've seen Classics do some nasty damage. Absolutely nasty.
Sit quiet before the storm right now. Run holding back a little bit of this overextension yet again. Potentially worried about an overextension from Dish. I think they might actually walk backwards into this Java. No, they're ready and waiting for it. Gorgeous stuff there. They're taken out and a follow-up too to boot. Another one coming through Jay. Gorgeous stuff indeed, and already the side of OnlyFans falling apart just a little bit.
1 enemy remaining.
I think quite a lot as Jay gets that 4th kill as well. It's all down to just Sleepy, but it's going to be a flawless round coming in as Quokkas, they get to 5, just 4 rounds away from equalizing. And right now, if they can win this bonus, it's going to be exactly the kind of adrenaline shot that they need to make this comeback going forward. A full buy across the board right now for the side of OnlyFans here. Right now, it does seem like Run and Ghost are the impact fraggers for the side of the attackers by my Quokkas. They started off a little bit shaky, but it does seem like they've woken up in this particular half. Every single player started firing across the board, and that's the kind of momentum that they need to break the streak that OnlyFans have been running so far. But this is what I talked about, right? OnlyFans, they're happy to get aggressive. They're happy to take that first engagement, especially with this weapons advantage. However, drop is going to be completely clear. It's just a full-on push towards A main. I think in these bonus rounds, it's important to really be able to stick together, trade each other out, because when you don't have that weapon advantage, that might be the difference maker. It does seem like OnlyFans is aware of this, though, because they've taken information on 2 lanes of the map already, both A main as well as towards drop. They know that towards B main as well as drop. They know that A main is going to be where that presence is, and Zubir already has a utility ready on site.
Yeah, ready and waiting. Again, most of the bodies being held on B, but all the utility on A. That's when people split things up like this, but look at this util dumps on both sides. Sleepy can get a beautiful opening engagement there, going in the favor of OnlyFans, holding back this collapse for as long as they can. But are they aware of the fade underneath?
Down A.
Where things could certainly get
1 enemy
ruckusy.
remaining.
There we go, Luna getting the pick there before being traded out. Jay, just too quick with it. Looking to try and maybe do something. They can grab the spike and hightail it out of there, but they can't. The aggression once again starting to come through by OnlyFans. A tale as old as time.
Some really, really nice shots coming out of both these teams here. But, huge credit there. I believe it was Zara, puts that Prowler out, goes for the peak, prevents that Reyna from really catching on fire. Because if you let a Reyna isolate those 1v1s, get that overheal, get that spike, get out of there, you don't know where that round might go. But yeah, I think that play from Zara to be able to catch Jay off guard, get that pick, and confirm the round for the team was really well done. Neither team has any ultimates apart from that Empress, though I do see a couple of them getting close. I think in particular, if Sleepy can get a couple of kills on the board here, they might have that Cosmic Divide for the retake. And I think that's when it comes down to controllers, Astra is just generally favorable just off the back of that. It's super useful. Though look at Sleepy. If they get a little bit too aggressive, there's an entire firing squad waiting for them.
Firing squad indeed. Not the most ideal, though. Already we're whittled down to a 4 versus 3. Both sides taking some casualties. I think the most interesting thing is where people go from all these kind of sneaky approaches with this map, right? Because you've really got to try and play the mental game on each other. Again, given the way these rotations work, they're so long, to be honest. For both sides, I will say. This is the fact that 9 times out of 10 that attack can go for that util dump. So now we are seeing some really nice gunfights. Speaking of which, there we go. Zara swinging around the corner. Raven taking out Capybara as well. Already it's starting to look a little bit better for OnlyFans. Can they get another round on the table and bring us close to that match point?
Oh, that's a beautiful entry from Jado, being able to get that first pick already. The concussion does come through to try and isolate the player, and it works perfectly. Raven gets that pick, a 1v2 right now for Lunar to try and clutch out. Takes quite a bit of damage from those pain shells. Now has to try and somehow isolate these fights, though just the utility dump being thrown at them, it just makes things so awkward. 40 HP in a dream right now to prevent this team from getting to 11. The spike not in their control either. As they try to go forward, at this point it might be better for them to just hold on to the gun, but Java, despite the low HP, will be able to get that final kill. And now it is going to be OnlyFans at 11. Quite a bit of a lead that they've extended, and off the back of that, just 2 away from closing in map number 1.
Again, it really shows the experience within that team. I think the fact that they're able to be on the less favorable side and they've still been able to pull it closer and closer towards that match point. Again, we kind of want to ideally see Quokkas bring it back closer, but again, 6 rounds in a row is what they need to get. Zach, do you think they have it in them?
I don't know. I think that on a good day, yes, but today there seems to be just a little bit of an off day. The team synergy is kind of missing, and I think that at this point they're still fighting. They're still in it to win it. They're not going to be forcing up too much. They're just going to be saying, okay, we're going to go in for a bit of a half buy, see what we can do. Maybe try to go for overtime here. So I think that the nice thing about Plymouth Quokkas is that from what I've seen of them, they're a team that just doesn't give up. Sure, they take the hits, but they keep rolling with them. They try to come back from whatever they can. Last time they almost made it work on Lotus map number 2, if I'm not wrong. Today, even if this one doesn't go in their favor, they will be looking to do the same thing on Pearl, which I think was a map that they've demonstrated their skill on before. But at this juncture, they could still make a comeback because they have that lockdown to try and work with. It does seem like, whenever that lockdown is active on the Killjoy, it does seem like it's an expectation that it's going to be a B hit already. You can see the kind of the way defenders are set up for 3 players on the B side, not even willing to let them get that plant down possibly. But it does seem like the read is there from the side of Quokkas. They have the brains to know exactly what they're dealing with. They're just having a little bit of an off day when it comes to being able to get those entries and hit their shots and stuff. So I think that's something that they can definitely warm up to in map number 2 if this one doesn't go their way. But comeback, it's still doable. I would never count a team called Plymouth Quokkas out.
This is it too, and then even if they do lose, right, we go to Pearl, where as long as they're bringing that punchiness, they're bringing those fights to them as well. I think that's going to be really, really lovely to see these two go head-to-head on that. Again, Plymouth, they're just a team that kind of have captured my heart a little bit over the seasons. They seem to be getting better with every season too, so I'm really excited to see what they themselves can bring to the table on Pearl, especially in terms of how they gain that map control. But for now, map control is always a difficult game when it comes to Fracture, and they have tried their best. I really don't think the round differential fully translates to how some of these rounds has gone, but it never really does it, to be honest. Let's be honest.
It never does. I agree with you there. It's just how these things work right now, though. It does seem like our technical difficulties have been finally resolved, at least for now. because whenever I'm casting, I tend to like. There's always at least one technical delay. I don't know if that's a Valorant thing or a Zach thing at this point, but yeah, you do see once again some early control being taken towards this drop area, or been gained as well. So the defender Killjoy is only one away. This execute though, it's very unconventional. Jay already being able to find the first with that sheriff is a huge kill. The trades are gonna be there though, still in favor of these attackers here, and Run will be able to get spiked down at the very least. Raven, however, gets a huge kill there. Jay towards CT already finds the lurk kill onto Sleepy. 2 players left right now to try and make this retake work. It's still viable, especially if you consider how low Run is, but a lot of weight has to fall on the shoulders of these players here. Raven has been phenomenal over the course of the map so far, but will they be able to make this work? That's the question on my head.
I also think Plymouth are just overextending a little bit too much, maybe. There we go, Raven taking out Luna. That's at least one dealt with. Paintail's about to go out. The swing around the corner for a run, shuts it down. Exactly love to see. Beautiful pick there by Zubair too. Things are certainly going to start to get scrappy on side. Do they try and stick this defuse? Yes, they do, and Jay is going to collect themselves the 3rd kill of the round.
Exactly what I mean. Like Flyma Quokkas, they were in a huge disadvantage. They didn't have as many ultimates as the defense do, and they had a really scrappy buy, but they still make it work, especially when Jay was able to get that first pick up that Vandal, and just kind of sneak into the spawn of the defenders. Huge kills there, 3k for the Reyna, and that's the kind of situation that Arena really excels in, because they took a little bit of damage, yeah, but you're just going to be able to heal back up to full fighting force and pop off, and it's just wonderful to see.
Wonderful indeed. I think also a big thing that I've noticed is OnlyFans aren't punishing sometimes the things that Quokkas are doing. But again, Quokkas, if you're going to give them that inch, they'll certainly take that mile again. They are the ones at the round disadvantage. They need to stop match point from occurring. Once again, we're having a little bit of a quiet before the storm moment. Luna and Raven about to pop off against each other. Those Raven on the corner. Raven's one who comes out up on top on that situation. Run taking out Zara retaliation though for hightailing it to safety. But are they aware they're about to run into this duo play?
Grenade! You should run.
They are. I think Raven is well positioning of Ghost. So swing around the corner. Ooh, doesn't quite go for it though. That lockdown is coming through as Java takes out Ghost. That's at least one less attacker to deal with.
Oh, the numbers advantage. It's in favor of the side of Oni fans right now. They also have so many ults to work with, this Rolling Thunder, as well as I believe a couple more that they have in their pocket. They, even if they don't have the weapon advantage, they still have quite a bit to work with. And now I think we might see some of those coming into play. That Rolling Thunder will probably be the thing to start off with. The Raven with the Marshall again finds a huge kill. That's going to be no more Killjoy utility available for the post plan. Now it's all down to just Capybara and Jay. This concussion is perfect though, and Raven gets a 3rd kill, but that Marshall still alive, still kicking. Capybara in this 1v4 finds the first, but it's going to be all that they're allowed to find. Weapons across the board here available to be picked up, and the defuse as well, and that's going to be match point on map number 1 for the side of these defenders here.
Certainly is, and that's kind of the scary thing almost as well, the fact that they are just able to go for these picks. And at that point, I think, to be honest, you know, Quokkas became way too passive in that post plant. Granted, yes, they would have been holding some crossfires there, but when you're going to go a little bit more passive with it, when you are against, to be honest, OnlyFans I do consider slightly aggressive. They're confident to take these gunfights, right? I think you need to try and rely a bit more on some of the util that perhaps you have in pocket. We're seeing a timeout come through on match point. What are we expecting here? Potentially something nasty about to come through from the side of OnlyFans.
They do have quite a bit to work with. I'm particularly excited to see that Bladestorm kind of come into play. Ghost not able to hit their shots with it, kind of being instantly taken out in the previous half was a little bit of a bummer. But I think that for the side of the attackers, at least it's a bit of a chance to reset. They don't have the best economy, but they can definitely put together a battle plan to try and make things work out. Though the fun part is that this is a timeout being called by OnlyFans here. They want to make sure that they don't mess up. They want to finish this as fast as possible, take us to map number 2, and possibly try to close it out with a clean 2-0. I think that every single one of the games that these two teams have played, they've been 0-2s or 2-0s, and both of them kind of want to keep up that record. So I think that this is a timeout that could potentially benefit both of these teams. So at this juncture, looking at the ultimate economy for the side of OnlyFans, the weapon advantage, it's going to be a very, very rough comeback attempt for the side of Flymat Quokkas here.
This is it, the quiet before the storm yet again. I'm just always curious when we do have a timeout, especially, as you say, with that many ults on the board. Are we about to see something explosive here?
Time's out.
A bit of a ruckus around
out of
Dish
my
2.
way.
Zara ready and waiting for this approach. Potentially a pinch could come through if they decide to rotate towards this conga line of attackers right now. Goes already, the Blade Storm going massive! Raven and Zara falling down. Can they get another as they collapse
Face
thick
your
and fast
fear!
onto this side? The smoke's going out. It's going to cut off the line of sight for Zubair. This is wonderful coming through from Quokkas right now. A swift collapse into sight. They just have to get that spike down now, and here we go.
Beautiful
Spike
work coming out of them.
planted.
Exactly the kind of attack that they needed for over the course. Oh, that's a nasty shot out of Ghost. Like we talked about, that Blaze Storm coming into clutch here. 3 kills on the round already. 2 players left to find, and Ghost still hunting for more despite having that HP disadvantage. It does seem like this 2v5. It's something that these defenders want to attempt. They're still going forward. Java in particular pushing forward. They will be caught in that crossfire. 4 players trying to find them. A 4k4 Ghost, and the last one taken by Jay here. A flawless round coming out of Plymouth Quokkas. It does seem like that timeout, it benefited these defenders more than anybody else here as they stay alive. And right now, that's exactly the kind of round that the side of Quokkas need to come back into this, because it just shows them that they have the aim to take on these fights. They just have to be a little bit more confident, a little bit more coordinated about their pushes, and they can still make this work out.
This is it, right? The timeout, it works both ways. But again, a 4K on the Blade Storm for Ghost. That certainly was the defining moment, I would say. Very aggressive, very punchy. The stuff you really want to see from your Jet. Ideal top form Jet plays.
For sure. And now Ghost, it seems like off the back of that round, they look a little bit more alive in this particular thing. Again, they're going to be going for the hunt when it comes to that first pick here on the round. In fact, 4 players converging towards this drop area right now. All 5 of them right now just watching that back, making sure that nobody's going to be flanking up real quick. They're looking to go for that hard and heavy hit on this A site, which worked out for them in that previous round. Still going to be multiple ultimates online for these defenders. They didn't invest that Rolling Thunder, but they still have a lot left to work with. And that smoke being put down by the Omen, the dark cover will cut off the line of sight. However, they don't know if it's going to be a fake or an actual execute. They do manage to make their way onto site though, and it does seem like a full retake setup coming out of these defenders.
Certainly so. Spike going down
Spike
low.
planted.
Retake time incoming. So much utility in pocket to go for this foe again. They just have to gather up together. There we have it. The lockdown comes through. That's going to push them hopefully back off site. I don't think Luna and Ghost are actually going to go for it, but run goes huge for being shut down by Raven with a little bit of an ulti there. Carry Baron goes 1 apiece for Java.
One enemy
Takes out
remaining.
those in retaliation. That was humongous from the side of Quokkas. Goodness me, Java left in a 1vx, but there we have it, Jay. Just too quick with it. I mean,
There.
I'm shaking my head. That was... wow.
Remember, the score at one point, Grace, was 9-1, and now it's 12-8. Quokkas, they might be down, but they're not out. And once again, it's going to be the second time that they're able to push the players on OnlyFans into a bit of a half buy here. Though, honestly, of all the guns that I've seen Raven with, nothing scares me more than them on that Marshall. They're at 26 and 13, the perfect 2.0 KDA, far above anybody else on the server right now. They're just having a game.
A game indeed, and again, even though that lockdown going down, they knew they had a little bit of time, but they had to go for something aggressive, so they just got up close and personal. They brought the gunfight to them. They were like, fine, there's a timer here, we can work with that. Really lovely stuff indeed. And again, the aggression that I wanted to see start to come through from Plymouth, it's finally here. It's where things start to get a bit scrappy. Speaking of scrappy, it's get a bit scrappy around the corner. Everyone does take them out though. Not much you can do in that situation when you have that kind of firepower behind you.
This 5-person push seems to be working out perfectly in the favor of these attackers here. A little bit of damage being done by Raven, tagging up the Killjoy. Run gonna be left with about 50 HP. However, though, the spike plant at least will be denied by this utility absolutely being spammed right now in the direction of these players. Capybara desperately trying to get back to get it done. This time will be allowed to do so as their team is there to cover it. But off the back of all that chaos, Java is able to find that kill, bring things back down to a 4v4, though Lunar will strike back with one of their own. 3 players left right now to try and make the retake happen. Again, Raven with that Marshall able to find a crucial kill here. They know that somebody's going to be on site, and with that Ghost, it's going to be Zubair finding a kill. 2v2 situation right now. Both these defenders are on site. They're going to tap the spike. They're not aware of this position coming out of Jay here. Finds that first, and the bait from the distance is going to be enough for Lunar to confirm that second. 3k on the round for the fade, and it is going to be Quokkas staying alive in this 3 rounds away from taking it to overtime. And You know, I know we were skeptical about it, Grace, but at this point, I gotta say, they are looking fantastic on this attacking half. That double duelist combo is doing wonders for them. Both Ghost and Jay being able to just slice open sites. Really good work coming out of the entire team.
100%, and again, even if, you know, one of those duelists are falling, Luna is there as a kind of fill-in almost. We just saw that pinch at the end to try and secure this win. The aggression from Jay almost acting as a distraction there for Luna to clean up shop. Again, you gotta be really frustrated right now if you're only fans, because you've been stuck on match point for a good while now. You want to secure it, you want to get that win under your belt. But Plymouth, yet again, they are just not willing to give up. Bit of a sneaky stack towards A now. They have chosen to split up this time.
I think last time it was also a bit of a gamble stack coming out of the defenders towards this A site. Now, though, it does seem like the side of Flamerquakas are going to make a little bit of noise towards this A side, break some of that Killjoy utility, maybe trigger a rotation, and it seems like their nefarious plan has already worked, because look at the number of players in this defender spawn just waiting for that execute. All these rounds so far, it's been very quick, very, very aggressive. Raven going for some information, finds the timing, gets the spike as well as that kill, and that's going to be no more controller for the rest of the round. Just the map awareness and positioning from Raven has been phenomenal over the course of today. They might drop a 30 bomb at this rate. They're only 2 away, if I'm not wrong.
This is going massive, and again, when it comes to that Killjoy utility, it's not just Raze utility, it's not just about taking those gunfights, it's all about util. You can send those paint shells out, you don't have to peek it, but Raven is gonna peek it anyway! Lunavan falling, that's 3K for the round thus far. Can they get the 4th? Ghost on the tiniest bit of health, tickle them and they'll fall
Spike
over.
down,
They're
B.
still gonna take out Raven though. That's gonna be a bit of a kick in the teeth. But again, you are in that 1v8.
10
You
seconds
don't
left.
have the spike in hand, make it or break it. You don't want to lose him, and there we have it.
Defenders win.
Java to finish things off. Goodness me.
What a beautiful game coming out of both these teams. Of course, a huge congratulations there to the side of Oni fans for being able to win it, especially after that dominant start they had. And like I said, it is going to be Raven being the MVP, dropping a 30 bomb, 426 ACS, 7 first bloods. I think that's more than both the other duelists have put together. But yeah, for the side of Flamerquakas, definitely huge credit to them. When you're down 1-9, it's really amazing that you're able to come back and make this game this close. And I think, like we talked about, Grace, they're a team that likes to start a little bit slow. This is their map 1 today. I'm super excited for map number 2.
And it's Pearl. Map number 2 is Pearl. What more can we ask for? That's going to certainly be an exciting one. Given that, yes, it did take them a while to warm up to it, but Plymouth are retaliating with this aggression, with their own aggression now too. They are warmed up, their eyes on the prize. They're like, okay, let's get stuck in. We want that grand final position. We want the revenge tour against Grocery Store. Let's do it. And again, at the same time, you know, Oni fans, of course, they want to retain the almost like fear that they have behind that roster's name at this point. So again, they are eyes on the prize too. It's going to get a little bit nasty. We will be going, though, before we get into round number 2, to a quick little break. So do not go anywhere. We will be right back.
you gon' lay it out for me, 'cause I'm backing up to where I used to be. I won't stand for you being on
What is that?
It's cutting edge VR, Flynn.
It looks like it's something from the future, you know?
Flynn took a trip to future London, saw something she wasn't supposed to. Now people from there are trying to kill us.
Transcend humanity with Omen.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Amazon University Esports UK and Ireland Valorant Women and Non-Binary Tournament. My name's Grace. I'm once again joined by Zach. We just saw a lovely little game of Fracture. Of course, Zach, Fracture being attacker-sided 9 times out of 10. Did it go in the way we thought it would? I think that's the question on everyone's lips right now.
I mean, I think so too, because you did see a little bit of a comeback story coming out of Climate Caucus once they switched sides. You know, they were down 1-9, they ended a half at 3-9, and they were able to almost make that comeback. I think the final score was 13-9. They managed to get a couple of rounds on the board there. I think that if they had gotten just a bit more on that defense, you saw them getting a little bit more aggressive towards like those last couple of rounds. If they'd been able to do that from the beginning, I think that we would have seen a possible overtime coming out. But at least, unfortunately, for the side of Climate Caucus, it is map number 1 being taken by the side of OD fans, but it was such a close game. It got way more dicey than in the beginning. I thought it was just going to be a stomp looking at how OD fans were playing, but Plymouth Quackers, I will never underestimate them, and that's exactly why they have the ability to kind of dig in deep, find those kills that they really need, and just in general be able to do a good job. And on map number 2, hopefully they have a much better start, because you really don't want to let a team like OD fans run away with the momentum.
This is it. Momentum, right? That's the name of the game here. Towards the end, they were getting the wind back under their sails. I hope despite the quick break we just had, they're still keeping that energy high. They're ready to get stuck into it. I believe that Plymouth will be starting on the defense for Pearl, with OnlyFans being on the attack. Again, especially with, you know, some of the approaches you can take as you're an attacker, you have to deal with those longer lines of sight. So potentially that's where Plymouth can really make themselves shine here if they're willing to challenge these long lines of sight very aggressively.
A long line of sights is one thing, especially on that B side. But I think that another thing that you really have to consider into the equation, and for the map of Pearl in particular, is, you know, that mid control really coming into question. I think that we touched upon it a little bit, Grace, before we got into map number 1 about the importance of the initiators in that. And I think that the team comp will decide a lot of that coming in. I think that the most successful teams when it comes to the map of Pearl is that they get that early information, they get that early aggression and pick, and they play off the back of that for the rest of the round. I think that for the map of Pearl, at least, it's much less attacker sided than what you see on Fracture. But in general, I do feel like it is slightly attacker sided as well. But overall, it just depends on the agent comp that you're running. Like, for example, if you're going to be having that double controller combo, especially, you know, if it's that Viper and that Astra coming in on the defense, it can buy so much value in being able to just kind of deny these pushes and that early information.
That's why this agent selection is certainly going to be a spicy one for me. I really do think aggression is the name of the game for this map. Again, whether you are going for those long lines of sight engagements, you're challenging the aggression that way, or again, the absolute ratty ruckus that can happen in that midsection. You know, we did touch on this earlier too. The use of that duo of kind of KO and Fade and how impactful that can be on those tight twists and turns. And again, some of the disgusting pixel angles that can be held, especially when you're on that defensive side. Certainly, this is something that I'm looking out for on both sides. I want to see Plymouth get as aggressive as what I'm assuming OnlyFans will also bring.
Yeah, I mean, we saw plenty of aggression coming out of that the last time around. Raven in particular dropping a 30 bomb, 426 ACS, 7 first bloods, a very, very impactful game. Exactly what you want to see from your duelists right now, though they do look to be switching that up a little bit, going for the jet pick instead. If I see a Yoru on either side, I'm supporting that team blindly. I think that when we saw Game Changers last year, we really saw G2 goes as Juliano give like a masterclass on how to use that particular agent, and Jay seems to be inspired by it. Is gonna be hovering over it, though. Please, Jay, pick the Yoru, please. I will pay you for this if you pick the Yoru.
I mean, the thing is, I think, you know, hovering between the Neon and the Yoru, you could argue both can be played hyper aggressively here. So I think already we're getting the indication of the kind of role that Jay is willing to play here, especially on that defense. Remember, the extension you can do on the defense to kind of throw a spanner in the works. The attackers, they're the ones that have to get through whatever you've laid out for them. They're the ones that have their checklist they're working through. If you just suddenly send in like a Yoru or a Neon popping up out of nowhere, absolutely, it can turn the round on its head. Certainly so.
I definitely believe so as well. What I'm interested to see, though, is that for the side of Oni fans, there is no fade here. In fact, they're happy to go in for that double controller and single initiator. You're seeing that they are starting off on attack, and yes, it is going to be Jay on the Yoru here. Super excited to see how Plamo Kwakwas are going to be playing this one out. Again, they've gone for that double duelist comp. I think that on defense, on a map like Pearl, where it is a little bit more defender-sided than Fracture, they should have a much better time of it. And boy, oh boy, am I waiting for that attacker to have to come in, because Yoru and Jet, that's going to be a power play for sure.
And once again, we have Luna on that fade too. And we did see how that double duelist with the fade was working so well for them last map. Again, they were just able to work so well around each other. If one of those duelists fell, Luna came and filled that spot very easily. Of course, the fade utility does really allow that to happen. It's almost like a kind of duelist 2.0 almost, which is weird because it kind of goes slightly out of the role you would expect it to be in. But it's something we've seen just time and time again since Fade was released. Of course, the Killjoys as well for those gorgeous lockdowns to come through, and smokes on both sides too. And again, we do have that Viper, so that's going to be an interesting one to see Plymouth bring to the table. OnlyFans rather bring to the table here.
I think that for the side of OnlyFans, if they can get that spike down, it's going to be so difficult, especially if they have equal numbers, because they have so much post-plant utility available. They have the nanoswarms on the Killjoy, which we're used to seeing, but Sleepy will also be having those pulls on that Astra. And of course, if you know Wally lineups, which I'm sure that Zara probably has some kind of inkling of, that's just so much utility to just prevent that spike from being touched at all. I think that might be a huge difference maker here, especially if they do get that spike down. But of course, just the fact that they have this double controller setup, it just lends itself to being able to pull off a lot of fakes, play for a lot of map control. Like that Viper wall towards B, for example, if you put it down, it's going to completely cut off line of sights, and it's going to force these defenders to invest that haunt or similar piece of utility to be able to clear it out. And honestly, you could just put down the wall, put a sky flash in, and it's going to be a perfect fake while the rest of your team kind of goes for the opposite side of the map. I've definitely seen it a lot before on this particular map with this double controller setup, and I think that that might be kind of what the side of Oni fans are looking to do here again.
Are we demanding the bait? Is that what's happening?
Oh, yeah.
I'm 100% here for it. Again, I do believe, actually, Raven, Java, and Zuba, they have played together before. I believe Sleepy will be joining them shortly, too. So for future reference, that is something to keep your eyes on, ladies and gentlemen.
Ooh. Some early information leaks coming through already. Love to hear it.
In the meantime, though, I mean, I'm just so excited to see how this is going to go. I think that Fracture is Fracture, right? It's a tale as old as time. We always know, we can always predict how that's going to go. Oh, look, one of the teams will run away with it on the attack to begin with. Then the side switch will happen and the other team will pull it back a little bit. It's always the same cookie cutter, stamped out, repeated story with Fracture. Pearl is a different ballgame, though. Let's get stuck in, Zach. I'm very excited to see how things go.
That is going to be some early utility to try and being committed towards mid right now. You do have the Killjoy watching it off the back of the turret. Will be able to detect any kind of pushes. Right now, the real fight does seem to be coming across on B. Both smokes already invested by Capybara to cut off line of sight as these attackers look to get a little bit near. Zubair on the lurk towards mid, trying to find some value while the rest of the team kind of encroaches on this B site. Two players, though, both towards this backside, trying to kind of anchor it down. The smokes go away. Ghost peeps out, spots a little bit of players coming in towards them, and off the back of that, it does seem like the full-on executors coming in at this juncture. Ghost has been spotted, but Capybara is still in known quantity right now. The Viper wall goes up, the smoke goes down, and the plant attempts will come through. Raven, though, able to find that first blood, a huge kill there. They don't know about Ghost. They don't know about Capybara, though, so Raven might not be expecting it. And with that debuff coming through from the Viper wall, it's going to be a 1-for-1 trade.
Yeah, there we have it. Things getting a little bit scrappy down mid right now. Definitely trying to hold off the rest of the attackers here. And beautiful shot there onto Java. This Jay's trying to go for a bit of a swing around the corner. Lands it. Zubair falls down. Can they get the second here? Beautiful stuff already so far.
One
Getting the
enemy
impression we
remaining.
really wanted to see on both sides. Zara, beautiful shot, and there we have it. Very, very uncomfortable now for Capybara. Capybara in these 1vs. Let's play as patiently as possible this time. Oh, I was going to say this time seems a little bit freer, but Sleepy was waiting in the smoke. Goodness gracious me.
Oh, that round, I know that the side of Oni fans won it, but it was so scrappy, especially that 3-person push down towards mid. It did seem like that play they've pulled it off before, but it did seem like the defenders are kind of ready for it. They were able to get the numbers advantage, but because of Sleepy, I think Sleepy was the real hero of that round. They managed to buy so much time with the utility, get those crucial kills on side and prevent that spike from really ticking through. And at the end, Capybara's smoke worked against them. They put it down to prevent the line of sight on the defuse of the spike there, but the spam as well as Sleepy being able to just walk in and connect that kill, huge impact frag right there.
Certainly so. And again, some of Util being sent out a little bit early. It's again trying to apply this pressure from the get-go on both sides. It's almost like a warning to each other. Mind your step, because we're always lurking in the shadows. It's a beautiful thing I love about this map. Again, just how scrappy it can get, especially in this mid. Some information at least being gained there. They know that it's clear from a dodgy up the way. Well, it's not so clear. Jays are lurking in the shadows. Zara does trade it back though. But goodness me, you really gotta check those.
Lunar picks up that Spectre just in time to be able to confirm that kill, and once again it is going to be the numbers advantage in favor of these defenders. At the very least, a Spectre as well, that they can upgrade a possible second, that they can get online as well. The Raven with that Vandal able to confirm not 1 but 2 kills on site already. A 2v3 situation right now. There is going to be a Spectre in the hands of Ghost, but immediately the kill comes through. Raven more than ready for it, and now it's all down to just Capybara once again. This time a 1v3 situation. Not much to work with aside from that Classic as they're trying to get a little bit of space onto site, but that smoke being put away, it is going to trigger one of their own from these attackers. Capybara just trying to find whatever value they can here, but it's going to be such a hard battle on their head. They get that first though onto Raven there, take down the Vandal, but at least it will be retrieved right now by these attackers. And as expected, it's going to be the second round coming in for them, but that was too close for comfort. Economic damage as well, huge work coming out the side of the defenders here.
Yeah, and hopefully I'll enable them to start to get around in their pocket on their own too. Going in with a bit more firepower now. Already, I'm wondering how Bolshi Ghost is about to get down B long. Again, for now, just being a bit more passive, but wondering as time goes on. Okay, they are just going to hold a very passive angle here, ready and waiting for this approach to come through. Seems like everyone's kind of putting the feelers out. They're expecting this overextension. It's not quite coming through from the defense just yet. You see the spike getting rotated as well. As Raven is still going to apply this pressure to B site. Could be a little bit of a bait coming through right now, Zach.
Yeah, looking at where exactly it is going to be, the spike itself is going, it does seem to be sort of an A commit here. However, the Vandal has been dropped to a teammate. Bladestorm available for Raven off the back of those really crucial impact frags that they've gotten so far. Spike itself, it does seem to be rotating over back towards this B site here. They know exactly where Ghost is through the smoke, trying to get the spam down, but Ghost will be forced to use the dash to get away safely and stay alive. The Cosmic Divide as well to make things worse here as they try to go forward. Ghost able to confirm that first kill. Nasty work.
Capybara picking up a pick there too. Was taking out Zara. That's a lot of cover util taken away from the hands of the attackers. Goes ready and waiting. It's shut down by Sleepy though. Kappa does trade along to Java though.
30 seconds left.
Can they try and get a little bit aggro here? I love to see Cappy starting to get a little bit more confident here, popping off just a little bit, really delaying this execute. This execute that OnlyFans are fully committed to right now as well. Oh, utility done. You run though. Beautiful shot down to Zub there. See a 1 versus 4. Very uncomfortable for Sleepy right now. Just gonna try and stick it. Again, you've got to try and bait into these 1 versus 1s. It's not gonna happen. There we have it. A round on the table for Plymouth.
Yeah, they managed to make that full buy work. Really good hold coming out of both Capybara as well as Ghost there towards that B site. I like how, you know, at this juncture, Plymouth Quokkas, despite losing that first map, they look a little bit casual, a little bit unfazed. They're happy to kind of just wait to try and see what exact plays these attackers are coming up with, not over-rotating or making any mistakes like that. You saw a little bit of that on Fracture, I believe, but, you know, it seems like the lesson has sunk in this time around. They also managed to hold on to 4 of their players, so their economy is building up to be in a much, much better spot than it was kills over the course of that last map. Now though, guns versus guns here, both teams having their full buy available. Once again, some mid control being taken early on by these attackers. The look at Ghost already having pushed out on the opposite side towards B. They know that B, there's going to be not much presence coming in from these attackers, and off the back of that, they're going to be able to hold down a super aggressive angle here.
Super aggressive indeed. Getting a bit ratty in this box too. Really lovely position to hold, actually. You've got to make sure the gun isn't sticking out, so they still have to try and make sure that you're not lurking there in the shadows. This could be massive if Raven is caught off guard. Yes, they are. Run, there we go. Your patience pays off. A second there onto Zubair as well. Patience is a virtue, and they're feeling certainly virtuous right now. And they're also looking hungry for a few more picks. Are they aware of the approach here from OnlyFans? They're trying to hunt her out, but I don't think that they're going to give it to them.
OnlyFans at this point going in for a little bit of a defender cosplay. Rondo aware of the angle, tries to get the third, does a lot of damage. It's a really, really good headshot though, because even though it doesn't confirm the kill, the fact that it is Java who's taken down, if it was anybody else, Java would be able to heal them back up. But now with 30 seconds left, they have to go towards any side of the map here. They don't want to go back towards that A side where there is going to be heavy presence after that particular kill. They're looking to go towards B instead, where you can already see Jay kind of positioned to be able to make that difference maker. 10 seconds left on the clock, and Jay willing to go in for the flash pick here. It blinds everybody, but not quite able to connect the kills. Sleepy will be able to at least get the spike down, so there could be some kind of a semblance of post plant coming in. Numbers advantage, so it's still going to be in the favor of Plymouth on this retake, and Cappy holding down his position on the long. It's a huge kill there. Two remaining players make that one. It's all down to just a Viper position towards the backside, but Jay goes into the angle, full swing, gets that headshot, and it is going to be 2-2.
Post but no cigar. And they did have a smoke to cover, which certainly helped then, but I also don't think it helped too much for Jarvis with such little health in that moment. Essentially, you're going against more like two players at that point. Especially when you do have the kind of utility that's going to give you that information that you need in that moment. Very back and forth though thus far, the stuff you like to see.
It's a much better look, I would say, for the side of Plymouth Quokkas compared to that first map. They've had a much stronger start here. Being able to win that round, it's going to push, I believe, the side of OnlyFans into an eco situation. You did see Raven invest that Blade Storm in round number 3, so they're not going to be able to have it online for this particular one. Not much to work with aside from Sheriffs across the board. Jay holding down the doors here will be that first point of contact. You did see them getting a little bit aggressive here, possibly trying to confirm a kill or two, but instead it's going to be Ghost finding that first blood, and now Jay towards his mid position. It's just a really, really strong hold here coming out of these players. The Trailblazer being able to sniff out Jay, but not quite able to connect that kill. Jay will be able to teleport into a much safer position off the back of that, and suddenly it's just a much, much better look coming out of the side of my Quokkas here.
Certainly is. I thought Run was actually going to lose a life there, but no. Zubair is going to fall down. Are they aware of Ghost? I think they are aware. The smoke is going to go up to give them a little bit of cover as they pick that spike up. Jay, beautiful shot down to Raven. Right now, to be honest, if you're OnlyFans, you've got to try and make the call. Where do we go? But again, they're everywhere right now. The pinch could come through very thick and fast if they're not careful. They need to make some kind of exit plan, I suppose, from that midsection, but I don't think it's going to happen. Capybara looking to get a bit bulgy here. Goes for the pre-fire, misses for a little bit. That's at least going to put dampener in the works here. Dizzy shots come in. There we go. The flank coming through from Ghost. Maybe it's going to fall down. Can it Java do it? Most likely not. The swings from every angle. Gross.
I hate to say it, but
fantastic work coming out of Hawk. That's exactly what you want to see from your team. They took control methodically across the map. You know, they've been taking B long for the last couple of rounds, but now just that hold that Jay was able to put towards mid, single-handedly being able to kind of lock it down with that Euro utility. Fantastic work coming out of them. And now for the side of Plymouth Quokkas, they have 4 ultimates online. They have a really strong economy, and they have momentum on their side as they, I think, for the first time today, take the lead in the series here in this game in particular. 4 ultimates for them to possibly work with. That lockdown might come into play as well if it does come down to the retake scenario. Once again, Ghost looking to get a little bit aggressive on this ace side. It's going to be Jet versus Jet, Raven versus Ghost. Raven gets that peek, confirms the kill as well. Takes a little bit of damage, but nothing that Sky can't quite patch up. It was all just a bit of a distraction though, and that Haunt is going to give that call away.
Really isn't already. We see that Plymouth for kind of reading where this collapse may come from. Can they go for a bit of the old bait and switch though? they have the ability to do so. If they start applying those some of these smokes to A, maybe they can go for the bait and go for that long rotate. But I do actually believe they will be committing to this. Looks like Raven is going to position themselves just to cover for that flank, for that retake. Realistically, they only have the Killjoy on site to defend it at the moment. This could be pretty big for OnlyFans. They just have to get stuck in.
You are divided.
Ooh, Raven more than ready. Just crosshair placement is impeccable right now for the Jet here. Run is going to be overswarmed, overrun. Still staying alive though with that lockdown. Has a utility on site as well to try and work
30
with
seconds
as
left.
they overrun the site. Right now though, I think this Cosmic Divide is going to be causing so many problems here. Ooh, okay, that could have gotten really nasty though. Run has a little bit of a whiff moment. Early information from Yoru. Lockdown will be put down, but Raven's still on the alert, able to have such a huge impact. Jay is going to be able to spot out 3 players. Flash connecting as well. Run finally shutting down Raven as well. A huge frag there. The defender lockdown will push these players off site. They know exactly where 3 of them are, though. Look at this 4th player's position here. It might be so huge. The lineups that's coming into play as well. 2v4 situation. The diffuse seems unlikely that it's even going to materialize at this point with the number of pushes coming through. It's all down to just Capybara. A 1v3 and the lurk from Zubir. The second lurk rather. It's going to confirm the round and we're back to 3-3.
Okay, Sky. Get us to a good position, then I'll lock it down.
Halfway through this attack for OnlyFans. If a few rounds slip away from them, but again, that's going to hopefully put the wind under their sails. Again, I love the way they were saving a lot of that utility for the post plant. Certainly, again, when you are dealing with that Killjoy lockdown, if you then can go back with a lot of this utility, prevent that diffuse from being stuck. That's really what you want in that moment. This is becoming a very dynamic game, I feel. Again, it's very back and forth. The amount of ruckus we've had in that midsection, you know, we did expect it. It is indeed Pearl, but it has been so much more spicy than I ever could have imagined. Ooh, speaking of spicy! Guys trying to go for these pre-fires, bro, for the barricade. Could get caught out a little bit here. The util coming out, poison coming out. Goodness gracious me. What an uncomfortable situation to be in. Run is going to have to hightail it out of there, fall to the back of side just to give a little bit of safety for themselves. And that's going to give all this breathing room. Look at this. They're making their way close and close towards this B side. No rotate. No big rotate coming through just yet. They're really taking their time on the defense, but Run needs help.
Oh, the spam almost comes through from Run there to try and take down that Viper's Pit, but it does manage to stay alive nevertheless. These nanostorms making it just a little bit more annoying, but again, that's the potential of the Sky here. You know, the heal does come through. All players are going to be back at fairly healthy fighting HP right now. Spike itself finally trying to go down here. You do see the cover coming in from the rest of the team. And off the back of that, Jay will be able to find a crucial kill. The flank now materializes. Zubier kind of trying to be the anchor here. However, though, it's going to be a 2v3 scenario. Java's position spotted out with the help of that Prowler. It's all down to just the Astra here. Sleepy, we've seen them pull off some phenomenal pushes before. Knows the position of the Yoru. Goes for the trigger discipline play. And now it's going to be a 1v2. Does have that pull as well on that Spike to buy a little bit more time. The position is going to be known though. They're going to be converged on by both these sides. The Paranoia is immaculate as well. And Capybara off the back of that will confirm that kill. Beautiful retake coming out of the side of Plymouth Quokkas. And they once again take the lead.
No button. Save the day. There we have it. Beautiful stuff. The patience too sometimes starting to come through from Plymouth. Again, it's just, I know I keep harping on about it, but it's just so lovely to see that, like, you know, last season, okay, I have faith in them. They can come back stronger than ever. Certainly they are doing so right now. And this has been a really enjoyable best of 3 so far, to be honest. I love how back and forth it's been. Granted, you know, Fracture, back and forth certainly in a different way. Again, that full steam ahead on the first attacking side. And then those side switches, that's when the reverse sweep can start to trickle through. But for now, this map's certainly been very, very back and forth. You know, OnlyFans taking the first 2 rounds. Plymouth fighting back with 3 of their own for OnlyFans securing another one, and then Plymouth clapping back right after. Hopefully so. We are seeing this timeout get called by OnlyFans right now, because if you're them, you know, you've won map number 1, you really want to take it home right here, right now.
I think so far. I like that you brought up the fact that this map it's very, very neck and neck. You are seeing quite a bit of a fight coming out of the side of these defenders here. And this is super interesting that they're able to kind of hold their own right now because, in that last map on Fracture, I know it's much more attacker sided, but they've kind of struggled in the way that that double duelist combo, it didn't really find much potential, but now you do see some aggression coming out of both Ghost and Jay here, trying to get those early picks, and sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't, but overall it's just them putting up much more of a fight. Ghost does have that operator back in their clutches right now as they try to work with it. Unfortunately, those same can't quite be said for Oni fans. They need to get this Blaze Storm onto Raven. They should be able to get the orb and pop it without much ado. We've seen the damage that the Blaze Storm can do last time around in Ghost's hands, I believe. Talking about Ghost, though, it's going to be them holding down this B-side angle, and if anyone decides to dry pick, it's going to make things so much more difficult, but they are aware of that.
Where indeed, Ghost is aware that some heads might pop up very, very quickly.
Blocking
The
sight.
missed shot there, though, is certainly going to alert them. Okay. They're holding it. They're holding it pretty aggressively. Let's try maybe something else. They could try and go for a little bit of a bait here just to pull away that presence. The Raven is willing to get this Blade Storm stuck in, though. Aggressive collapse coming through. There we go. Luna's taken out, but Jay is there with the crossfire, shutting down that entry point.
Honestly, I would take that trade because the only weapon that was in the hands of Oni fans there was that Blade Storm, and it's a 1-for-1 trade. Nobody else on the team really has a workable weapon with. Java does have the Spectre. I think most everybody else, they're just stuck with these Sheriffs and Classics, unfortunately. With 30 seconds left, they have to make a move somewhere across the map. It does seem like B is going to be that area of interest. Ghost once again being mollied. This time, no pull going to be available, though, so they're going to be able to reposition. Finally connecting a crucial shot there, though. Once again, they get cooked alive by Zara's utility. It is all down to these 3 remaining players. 10 seconds left on the clock. Zara has to go in for the plant here. Spam attempt does come through. Run, not willing to risk pushing through here. However, though, Jay towards mid finds a pick, and it's all down to these last remaining players. I don't think they have any real guns to work with. It's going to be a very, very difficult job for them to manage. Everybody, though, caught in the reload. Beautiful kill comes in on the Ghost, and this might still be doable for Astra here, considering how low Omen is.
100%. Got to play a little bit smart, though. It's a little bit of the sound cue there. Very good. The gravity pull gets popped off. That's going to just delay that diffuser even more, but it's where the swing needs to come through. The whiff, though. Jay is going to collect the 4th kill of the round. There we have it. A swift but steady retake there from the side.
Zuko better watch their backs.
All things considered, the fact that they had almost nothing to work with except for a Spectre and the Blade Storm, that the fact that the rounds still got so close is a huge testament to the competence practice that Oni fans really have. But at this juncture, Paimon Quokkas, they have taken a little bit of a lead here. Last 2 rounds, they managed to convert in a row without breaking too much of a sweat. And I think in particular, I think this Euro pick, it's suiting Jay quite well. They're able to just cause a constant amount of pandemonium towards that doors area, and time after time, they're able to find these lurk plays as well coming out of the side of Oni fans. Really huge kills.
I think that's down 1.5 KPR so far, so certainly, you wanted to see that Euro come through, and I'm sure you're very happy with the kind of plays that we've seen so far.
Very, very much so.
Yeah, always beneficial to have at least above a 1, but 1.5 is certainly significant. The pop shots once again coming down B long. Ghost is going to pull into a more passive position this time. Interesting stuff indeed. Cheeky little angle to be held. Can they get the pixel that they need, though? Very high angle being held by Raven there as well. Could be a bit of Jet versus Jet action we're about to see back.
One down.
Ooh, Raven gets a huge kill there. It's going to be the lockdown committed as well as they try to make their way onto side. And just the amount of controller utility is just pushing Ghost off these angles time and time again. They're having no dice with being able to connect some of these shots at all. And that lockdown will keep them safe as the spike goes down. A 4v5 retake attempt. They're not going to be able to have the killjoy utility available. Ghost, though, still has that operator, has the Blaze Storm as well if they want to get a little bit more aggressive. There are going to be these 2 players kind of holding down backside. Raven, though, getting 2 kills somehow. Collateral finally being shut down by Ghost, but the damage might have already been done. 2v3 situation. Goes for the reload in the worst spot possible as Zubir will collect that kill. It's all down to Jade. They've been phenomenal over the course of this map, but a 1v3 with the post-plant lineup.
Is this
yeah, it's not going to be happening.
clean and aggressive take there from the side of OnlyFans. Pulling this back ever closer. Can they equalize? I'm really curious to see how things will go when that side switch happens. Because I think with Pearl especially, like I always see a very back and forth game, and I never really know, you know, most maps you can say, oh, this is slightly attacker sided, this is slightly defender sided. I never know what to think of Pearl, Zach.
I think that it honestly depends on your team composition. That's my take on it. I think this is one of the more balanced maps that are available in the meta right now. It's not like Split or Fracture, where you do see a very high win percentage on one side across the world. Pearl, it depends on the team, it depends on the composition. I know that in particular, this double controller comp, it finds a lot of value on both of the sides of the map, so that's something in favor of OnlyFans. However, the double duelists, they do quite well in attack as well. So I think that both these teams, they've gone for comps that they're comfortable with more than anything, which I think is a key factor on balanced map like this, because it doesn't matter what the meta is. If you're able to kind of pop off on your agents and make them work, that's the main thing.
And it inspires more creativity, I think, with the lineups as well, and the way that people are utilizing everything that they have in their pockets.
I think so, but it's also a very map dependent thing. Like, you could argue that having a balanced map means that, yeah, you're going to be seeing a lot of diversity in comps, but then you look at Icebox and you're just like Jet, Sova, Sage. You do see a little bit of flexibility coming in with Harbor being in the meta, but aside from that, it's still pretty much the same comp that you see most of the time. Right now, though, this position being held by Ghost is just absolutely daddy. The Sleepy clears it. Beautiful shot.
Beautiful shot indeed. Raven taking out run 2. Thought Killjoy utility off the board. No more util holds. B-side. The collapse is coming through thick and fast. Jay gets taken out, but Capybara trades it. Can they hold on? Can they wait for this rotate? The really long rotate their teammate has to do.
I have the spike.
1 versus 2 on site until that happens at least. Sleepy does grab the spike. Can they plant it? There we go. The shot's going to come through. Raven ready and waiting for Luna to fall into their open arms. That spike doesn't even need to go down. We've equalized.
5-5 again. This game is going neck and neck. It seems to be a battle between Jay and Raven, honestly. Both of them trying to kind of compete as to who can frag out more. Right now, though, for the first time this game, we are going to be seeing a bit of an eco coming out of the defenders here. Though, I mean, can you really call it an eco if Jay has a judge? Because I feel like of all the weapons in the game, you know, the Stinger, people say the Stinger is the most broken, but I'm going to have to digress. I think that the judge is one of the worst ones, though it does seem like the side of the defenders disagree there. You see 3 Stingers on board for them. We might see that work out, because in a lot of these very close angle fights, especially towards Art or towards the doors, it could prove to find so much value. And for that exact reason, it does seem like OnlyFans, they don't want anything to do with those areas of the map. They're just going for a bit of a fake play towards this A site where there is a 3 stack, while the rest of them with the spike away towards this B angle.
Here.
Here, just to apply that pressure to Capybara even more.
Here.
Turret out.
They're very cautious of the fact that they don't want to give up this site, and again, the pressure that was being kind of tempted towards A there. The defense are remaining split right now. I think I want to see a bit more action, a bit more of a push around this midsection from the defense right now as well, to deal with these lurking players. Because that could be massive if they run into the opening arms of the Killjoy.
Yeah, that's always a situation you really don't want to be in. And Viper wall being put up here is going to trigger that Nightfall. I think it is going to be catching at least one player. Capybara desperately trying to stay alive, though they are also being cooked alive just a little bit with the help of that Viper utility. Java finds that first kill. Zara invests that Viper's pit as well, to once again being able to comfortably get down that plant. They're going to be making their way onto site here. Multiple players just kind of waiting for anyone to push out of this aggressive position. Captain tries to push into the smoke, but the crossfire being held is more than good. At least running to get a trade. The Zubair on the lurk finds so much value. 2 kills already on the round. It's all down to Jay. A 1v4 and the Viper's pit to try and contend with. Only a Stinger in hand. This does not, I don't think this is going to be very pretty. They do have their ultimate to work with, but in this kind of position, they're in such a bad spot right now. They have to clear out so many lines of sight before they can even make their way forward, and the clock is still ticking. In the meantime, about 20 seconds left on the round. All they really have to do is try and get a couple of picks. I don't think Zara spotted them out, so at least Jay might be able to find the timing, get a couple of kills here. But aside from that, it does seem like the lead, once again, is going to be stolen away by OnlyFans here.
Oh, maybe Jay can escape in time. No, we haven't. I mean, the Viper's Pit, right? It's such a nasty piece of utility.
Last round
Compare
in
it,
the
for
half.
example, to the Lockdown. You know, with the lockdown, you at least get that line of sight still, right? You at least can get yourself, especially on that B site, you can get yourself to a position or an angle where you can at least try and contest it still. Contest the players from actually getting that spike planted. With the Viper's Pit, obviously it cuts off the line of sight as well. It's always so difficult to go against. Try and go for these free fires. You've got to try and go for these riskier moves. Poor Capybara was fighting for their life out there. Held on to it for as long as they possibly could. Ooh. Ways already being laid by Revan, and potentially the Blade Storm about to come out yet again. This goes to his head. This duo swing that will come down there. Blade Storm coming up second. No, they can't. The Capybara goes huge.
Last
Trades
player
across
standing.
the board. Green and red. It's looking like a disco out here right now. A 1 versus 2. Poor Zara. I don't think they were expecting that. I think the plan there was to go very, very aggressive.
Yeah, but, you know, having Raven on that operator, that close angle, I think it kind of proved to their detriment. Right now, it's all up to Zara, like you mentioned, the 1v2 to clutch out, 30 HP in her dream here. They do at least have control of the spike, which is the one thing in their favor, but in this kind of situation, they're going to have to get some really nasty headshots and a little bit of help as well to make this miracle work. 50 seconds, at least they have time to work with, but right now they have almost no information. They know that the Fade is probably somewhere towards B side or mid from the positioning of that Haunt, but after that Euros, they have no idea where Jay is. They're trying to get a little bit aggressive towards this mid area. If they can confirm this kill onto one of these players, that might be what they need to work with despite that low HP, because they have both of their mollies left still.
30 seconds left.
Perhaps aware of this possibility of a lurk, is going to be pushing back into spawn to try and take that 2v1. They don't want to risk losing out and dying and leaving their teammate in a 1v1 against a Viper.
That's going to give Zara space here to get that spike down. Try and catch him off guard. No, they can't. Jay cleans up top. Now defuse. Can't be stuck. Goodness me. A 6-6 split.
Teşekkürler.
A much
Thank
better
you.
look, I would say, for the side of Plymouth Quokka, as they managed to
button.
even things up
Save the
quite
day.
well and looked really good on this defense. Now all they have to do is put off a very power-packed attack.
Switching
They have a lot of
sides.
utility to deal with. That's the one thing that is probably not going to be in their
I
favor.
don't care if there are
But again,
5 of them
they
or
have
50 of
2
them.
duelists to try and
Let's
work
go.
with. They also have a little bit of post-ban in their pocket with the help of that Killjoy. If they can find the cracks in the defense here, try to slip through the smoke, slip through the gaps, it might be what they need. And if I think that for them, the most crucial thing is going to be finding that early pick, because if they can convert that first kill, it will make the difference going forward. Because right now, on a map like Pearl, if you lose one of your defenders, suddenly there are a lot of holes in this map that you have trouble really being able to plug up, no matter whether you have a Killjoy or not. And for the attackers, I think that's going to be the most crucial part, to be able to find that first pick and not lose too many players in the process.
It's the thing too, you know, OnlyFans really came through there to try and delay the absolute reign of terror that Jay has been causing. You know, Jay was on a 1.5, it's now down to a 1.33. Still very good, but I just want to point out, still very, very good. Putting up absolute numbers right now, but again, that's ideally what you want that player to be doing. Getting those opening engagements under their belt, clearing all this space. On the flip side, we have a 1.08 on Raven. Again, still positive on both sides, but certainly Jay taking it away just a little bit more here.
Fake TP though, Raven will be able to clear it out. Still trying to pull down this backside. They get the first kill, almost get the second as well, though they will be forced to dash out, playing for their life here. Still fairly healthy considering that they only took a little bit of damage. Being able to anchor down this backside position.
One enemy remaining.
The reload timing is off though, just like that.
down,
The shot
B.
seems to be falling apart here. It's all down to just run. A 1v4 situation, almost no HP to work with, spike out of their control, and it just seems like this is going to be another pistol that is possibly in the hands of the players of OnlyFans. Runch desperately fighting for their life, but Sleepy will put them down, and that is going to be pistol taken by the side of OnlyFans. They've won 3 out of the 4 pistols so far. Insane.
I think it's big because they're willing to play that hyper-aggressive pistol, especially there. That is how you should start your defense, right? Especially on that defensive pistol. Go for the jugular, absolutely. We saw some gorgeous plays from Raven there. It's almost like they heard what I said. Oh, you're lagging behind a little bit. They have now pulled themselves up to 15 kills. 1 behind Jay, padded out that KPR a little bit. The stuff we love to see. The opposite of a Caster Curse, almost.
Yeah, we don't need to curse it if these players can do it themselves. Right now, they're talking about cursed. It is going to be the cursed buy coming out. Just going to be pistols across the board here for these attackers as they desperately try to make it work. They're going in for a little bit of a quick hit here towards this art area. There is a little bit of utility available, the flash, as well as, I believe, that pull, buying a bit more time for Java to be able to kind of just anchor down this site. That hot being broken will give away information that there is still some presence towards this area, but it does seem like the side of Oni fans are kind of happy to give it up a little bit. They don't mind playing just for that site, and they do have a bit of a crossfire being mentioned now. So Java gets a little bit more aggressive, gets immediately punished. Huge kill coming through from Capybara there. It's also going to be expected to possibly pick up. Zubair, though, will punish them for their eagerness, and now they know exactly where this hit is coming. Look at the positioning of these players already. Raven with that Marshall making it sing, finding that first kill. Sleepy as well with the backup. It's all down to just Jay right now. A 1v4 with Raven more than ready with that Marshall. Will connect that last kill. 4 players alive. They only lose a Marshall considering that Raven managed to pick it back up. So economically, they're doing great. 8-6 right now. If they somehow win this bonus, things are going to look very, very dire for the side of Timeout Focus.
The thing is, again, I just feel like OnlyFans are being so aggressive that it's like Plymouth can't set up the way they want to, I think, for these collapses, right? I mean, they didn't really even get close to it that last round, but even the first round for their attack, you know, they were trying to go for it, but they couldn't set up properly because of the hyper-aggression coming through. This is already working out very, very well for OnlyFans. Can Plymouth finally get an attacking round on the board? Ghost looking to get a little bit fruity here, looking for the heads of potentially Raven, but Raven in this default position. A bit of a wiggle.
I think that Raven might be the difference maker here just because of what a ratty angle they're holding. You do see that kind of cross coming out. It does get instantly broken, and Capybara will nevertheless be able to get that spam kill onto Zara. Huge word coming out of them right there. Boone does take a little bit of chip damage, but we'll still be able to stay alive. Raven, though, huge impact frag, being able to shut down Ghost like that, gets healed back up to 100 as well. And now we're looking at a full-on 4v4 intake.
Planted.
There's going to be some post plants available as it's going to be 2 players towards long. However, the remaining 2 towards this back side, they're going to have to hold on for dear life because in that kind of an angle, these Spectres could do a lot of damage here. It is going to be the Trailblazer investor right now. Java trying to get some information. Will spot out that Yolo at the very least. However, the Phantom finding a huge amount of damage here. In fact, 3 kills coming through almost concurrently. It's all down to Sleepy. A 1v3. They find that first. Have to get more though. Try to cross over using that smoke. Help of the smoke there. Tries to get the second as well, but Cappy more than ready for it. And just like that, it is going to be the gun round won by the side of Timeout Quokkas. A really good round coming out of them. 3 guns in the next round as well. So they did quite well.
They certainly did. And again, just having that willingness to be like, okay, we're just going to try and play a bit more passive here. Did you notice they weren't trying to peek the approach that would come back from the defense? They weren't willing to peek at all. As you say, you know, they knew they were potentially at a slight disadvantage there, so they would have played it passive. They used that smoke utility from Capybara to cut off the top position.
Some really fantastic work coming out of them. And the fact is, even though, like, of course, Capybara being able to get that first kill through that smoke spray, of course, second one coming through as well. Really good work. But talking about this particular round, now at least off the back of the jump peek from Jay, they know that there's going to be an operator positioned very aggressively towards this B site. It is going to trigger a flash peek coming out of Jay here, pushing them off the angle. The smoke will come through to try and cut off lines of sight right now. It's going to force the operator to play a little bit back, but more than that, it is going to be just the site being held on for dear life here. They know that this is probably going to be a Yoru fake. It is a bit of a distraction right now because look at the position towards Art. You already have a player coming through.
Once again, Raven does have this. Oh, can they land? Yes, they can. Luna falls down. No immediate trade just yet because why would you try and peek it up like that? The Astro Smoke does go up as well to cut off any kind of attempt at a collapse there. So Vust the rotate has to come through. Run. Ready and waiting though. A little bit of a ratty angle just in case the defense start to rotate past their faces. But look at this read already.
30 seconds
They're
left.
also rotating themselves. This B site hold, and again, the op will be in hand. Zach, it's going to get nasty.
It's going to be even worse considering that the Omen only has 1 smoke. They've chosen to put it towards that back side, but there is still going to be an operator to play towards the upper side. Oh my god, again, Java takes a headshot, but that Phantom not quite able to connect that kill. At least they make their way onto side, but the
10
operator's still
seconds
ready
left.
to sing. Will
Spike
deny that
down,
plant.
B.
It's all down to
One
the last
enemy
two players.
remaining.
Make that one.
Flawless.
Just some ghost here, and they know exactly where they are. Final kill comes in a flawless for the side of OnlyFans who are making a statement with this kind of round.
Goodness me. Wowzy. Raven, 21 kills now. Doing absolute numbers with that up in hand.
Just a little bit of an optif, I would say. Ghost seems to struggle way more on that particular weapon, but hey, we saw the martial shots coming out of Raven on Fracture. I think the op is like a natural extension of their hands at this point. But yeah, like you mentioned, absolute numbers. They put a 30 bomb on that probably previous map, looking to kind of set a new record on this particular one. The economic situation not the greatest, unfortunately, for the side of Plymouth Quokkas. Just a couple of pistols. I think I saw Marshall and Stinger as well. They kind of have to try and make this work, and I think the biggest problem for them at this juncture is that they're just not able to get these trades. So often, you just see Audacity being committed in daylight robbery by Raven here, being able to find kill time and time again. Huge impact frags coming out, and of course these smokes on either side, both at Asteroid 2 as well as whatever comes out of their Vipers, denying so much space. Java still holding down this angle strong. He gets the first kill as well.
This is it. Java's just so able to just shut these little approaches down, these little kind of attempted moments of spite that we're going to start to see from Plymouth. They're going to be pushed back just a little bit though, but again we have a little bit of a Pintaruni. Could Zara cause a little bit of a ruckus here? Run is leading the way once again. Zara shut it down. Yes, they can. Goodness gracious me, no trade either, no aggressive push. There is two of them there. They could go for the duo swing, but the Jimmies are indeed ruffled. That smoke can go up too. Bit of poison, 2 boots.
30 seconds left.
There is nowhere where the side of Plymouth Quokkas can find any kind of purchase. They keep getting shut down in every single angle. They try to go a little bit forward now, a little bit more aggressive. They know that this A side is where this hit is coming already. 2 players gotta be lying in wait right now. Java being taken down to 1 HP, but still alive, still kicking.
Spike down.
Backup really necessary right now to shut that down. And of course, Jay is trying to find whatever they can in that corner. More than expected. Last kill goes to Zubir, and it's gonna be double digits for the side of OnlyFans. That round though is just a demonstration of why this double controller comp is so dangerous. You see that Astro Utility coming in every other choke point, and of course just that Viper wall at the most crucial times. Even if you push it, you're going to be taking a massive debuff, and it's just causing absolute havoc right now in the ranks of the side of Plymouth Quokkas. This is going to be their buy run. This is their last chance to arguably jump back into this, because if they lose this, they're going to be at the risk of running another eco and letting their opponents get to match in series point. They have to win this. The pressure has to be on at this juncture.
But you highlighted it perfectly. Again, these smokes coming up, especially when they're running a double duelist. They want to get aggressive with it. You're just denying that every single time. Speaking of denying... Oh well, Capybara actually going massive! A second one